Black people are going to save America from Joe Biden.
Think so? Okay.
We got tricked. He's weekend at Bernie's, bro. You literally re-upped on the most practice in America, gun control. As the black people started buying more guns than ever, you said, we're going to send you to jail for 10 years. Fortunately, the Supreme Court was like, what? You are bugging. You speak to black people as if you literally own them. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
He ain't doing nothing for the black community. So I'm going to take a chance and vote for Trump.
I'm not watching any f***ing Republican GOP presidential debates because there shouldn't be any. The nominee is Donald J. Trump. Anybody pretending like they running for office is doing a disservice to this nation, and all they're doing is just dividing the nation even more.
Trump, 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 Trump.
You got knocked the f*** out, man!
What's going on, y'all? What it is? So first and foremost, I would just like to say I hope everybody is happy and healthy out there. And with that said, let's go ahead and slide into these topics. Now, the first thing I want to discuss is this Trump situation, because we all know that he was found guilty on all 34 felony counts. And of course, it has the world divided. Now, of course, I'm looking at videos and everybody's giving their opinion. And of course, you have that right. The First Amendment is afforded to you as long as you use it respectfully and things of that nature. Now, what is bothering me is the amount of melanated people that are supporting this man. And let me make myself clear before I go any further. I don't support either candidate, because me personally, I'm the type of individual to resonate with the truth, and neither party represents that for me. They both lie, they both steal, they both KILL, and they both cheat. Let's just keep it all the way real. But anyway, after the day of the ruling where Trump was found guilty on all 34 felony counts, basically the next day he did a press conference at the Trump Tower in New York City. And after that press conference, he came outside and he started waving, but video footage caught that there was nobody out there that was supporting him. He was waving to nobody.
See you later.
Now, maybe there were a few people, but if you zoom into the picture, I don't see too many people at all. It sounded like it could have been maybe 6 to 10 people yelling and screaming. But again, his supporters found a way to uplift him, because Trump made over $58 million in donations once he was found guilty on all 34 counts. And they're trying to point out the fact, look at what this man can do overnight with all of these donations coming from his supporters. Now, we are dealing with 45, so I don't know if these numbers have been inflated, and they were announced on his website. So, you know, he had people working in his corner. These numbers could have been put out there to entice other supporters of his to actually donate, because he owes a lot of money. He's been sued. So really, when you look at it in its totality, that $58 million isn't really that much money, because he owes all of that out. So ultimately, I feel what 45 is doing is basically using his fan base to pay off his bills. He's speaking their type of language. He knows what to say to rile them up. He came in after a melanated president, so this is the opportune time for the individuals that felt that when he won the presidency, they felt responsible for it and that they helped him take the country back. Because of course, once again, they felt that Obama in office for those 8 years was a travesty to the United States. But anyway, let's revert back to the press conference that he had a couple of days ago. So within that same press conference, he gaslighted his fan base once again. He talked about individuals from Congo that were getting out of prison, being freed, coming back to the United States. So I want you guys to check out this clip, and then I'll come back and tell you what I think.
The Congo has just released a lot of people from jail. Congo, Africa, just released a lot of people from their prisons and jails and brought them into the United States of America. This is what's happening to our country, and it's not sustainable by anyone.
Now, y'all, I know that melanated Americans, we have our issues with our melanated individuals across the pond, but hopefully we can resolve those issues because we've both been lied to and we've both been pitted against one another. So hopefully we can find some common ground to unite and come together, because that's what they're afraid of. But what 45 just did was basically tell his fan base that people from Congo are going to come over here and try to take over, basically try to disrupt, commit all sorts of crimes. And it's not good and it's not sustainable for Americans to have this type of behavior and fluctuate the United States. And see, that is just so wrong, because those individuals will come from over there and respect them more than they will melanated Americans. I mean, hell, listen, say what you want about Ari Spears, and I definitely have an issue with him, but he told you guys back in the days how Africans feel about us.
African people don't like black people. Y'all know they treat us like shit. They talk down to us. They think they better than us. And I don't understand, because we from the same tribe, kind of. But they like white people, though. They treat y'all like family. As soon as y'all come around, they get excited. Excuse me, Mr. White Man. Thank you for bringing us here. We love you. Yeah, the white man.
Now, once again, he's promoting this narrative that melanated individuals are coming here and that they're a danger to this country. That is dangerous rhetoric, because he knows what that does to his fan base. But what I want to do right here is, because I can go on and on about this topic, but I'm gonna save it for another video. But I want to play you this clip from this beautiful woman that broke it down so beautifully. All right, sit tight and I'll be back.
So Donald Trump has been convicted of all 34 felony counts. All 4 of them, okay? Let me tell y'all what that means. This man can only serve up to 4 years. Up to 4 years. That's all he gonna get for 34 counts. They are not consecutive. They're not stacked on each other. So people do not get it confused. Every last count is the same. He can only get 4 years. But his ass could also get probation. But the fact that he's been running his mouth for the past couple of months talking shit about the judge, he may get some time. And the reason I say he may get some time is because the judge is the one that's going to decide what Donald Trump gets. But the funny thing is, this man is a felon now. Donald Trump is officially a freaking felon. But I don't know. This man has been held in contempt so many times. The judge has told him to hush his mouth. He's talked shit about the judge. He's called the judge corrupt. He's called the thing rigged. He compared himself to Mother Teresa. I know I'm supposed to be off, but this shit is hilarious. And all his backwoods buddies are outside and they are pissed the fuck off. I mean, we all knew that he was going to be convicted. Now let's see if they're going to actually give this man time, or they're going to get a slap on the wrist and give him probation. But with 34 felony counts, bruh, I don't think you getting off with probation. But you are white. Oh, that couldn't happen. But I'm happy. Everybody roll up one. Donald Trump is a felon. Peace, people.
So, convicted felon Donald Trump just got some pretty terrible news for his campaign, because a new poll has just come out and it shows that a lot of Americans think that Donald Trump should drop out of the presidential race because of his guilty verdict. This morning consult poll, which was conducted on Friday, offers some of the first clues about how voters are reacting to the unprecedented conviction of Donald Trump. 54% of registered voters strongly or somewhat approve of the guilty verdict. And here are the big numbers. 49% of independents and 15% of Republicans said that Donald Trump should end his campaign because of the conviction. And not only that, in this poll, President Biden is winning nationally against Donald Trump. But 49% of independents, 15% of his own party, that's huge. Like, especially the 15% of Republicans. If those folks either vote for President Biden or just don't vote at all, it'll be incredibly difficult for Donald Trump to win the 2024 election. So this is some pretty great news, and it shows you that the American people don't want a convicted felon in the Oval Office. So convicted felon Donald Trump just got some pretty terrible news for his campaign, because a new poll has just come out and it shows that a lot of Americans think that Donald Trump should drop out of the presidential race because of his guilty verdict. This morning consult poll, which was conducted on Friday, offers some of the first clues about how voters are reacting to the unprecedented conviction of Donald Trump. 54% of registered voters strongly or somewhat approve of the guilty verdict. And here are the big numbers. 49% of independents and 15% of Republicans said that Donald Trump should end his campaign because of the conviction. And not only that, in this poll, President Biden is winning nationally against Donald Trump. But 49% of independents, 15% of his own party, that's huge. Like, especially the 15% of Republicans. If those folks either vote for President Biden or just don't vote at all, it'll be incredibly difficult for Donald Trump to win the 2024 election. So this is some pretty great news, and it shows you that the American people don't want a convicted felon in the Oval Office.
I just find it funny how the verdict comes out on Donald Trump and not a single riot has gone down. Not a single window has been smashed. Not a single fire has been started. Not a single business has been destroyed and completely burnt down to the ground in some fiery, crazy protest because of the result of Donald Trump's verdict. I just thought that was really interesting. Oh, and you want to know what else is really interesting? Out of all the presidents that the United States has ever had, there have been plenty that have committed actual war crimes. Not a single one has caught even a misdemeanor charge for anything. Even everyone's Lord and Savior Barack Obama sent a drone strike that attacked a wedding procession that 12 innocent civilians. You ever hear anything about any type of trial for Obama because of that? No, you haven't. Everyone just seemed to forget what Hillary Clinton did with the whole Benghazi situation and how innocent Americans died because of it. I mean, and the fact that they blatantly said what she did was wrong and criminal with her emails, but you never saw anything come of that, did you? And of course, this is all happening just a few months before the presidential election. I mean, I want to know what the crazy, corrupt people in Washington, what their plan is, okay? Because if your plan is to sabotage Donald Trump's candidacy to become president again, all this is going to do is fuel the MAGA support for Donald Trump. Do you know how many memes I have already seen on this app of people saying, I don't care, I'm still gonna go to the election booth and vote for a convicted felon to become a president of the United States again? I mean, it's madness. Democrats, look at me, okay? All right, let's meet eyes, all right? If you want to beat Donald Trump, then you need to beat him by putting somebody else against him that isn't some old geriatric who can't even read lines on a teleprompter, probably because he's smelling the that he just took in his own pants, okay? That's how you beat Donald Trump, not by trying to convict the guy by throwing shit at a wall and hoping something sticks that'll prevent him from being able to run for president again. It's like, come on, let's think logically here.
Wasn't Obama supposed to be the change we wanted to see? And then some of y'all had to actually do the work to peel back the layers and see that all that glittered was not gold. I just watched Casanova's video and it was pertaining to voting. And I'm not sure if y'all in the comments are just dense or if y'all are actually critical thinkers, because we are so far past a generation of lesser of two evils. We are so far, or should be so far past, well, your ancestors fought for your right to vote. Well, Malcolm X had the ballot or the bullet speech. I don't know if he was fighting for that. Is he not an ancestor? And also, for all of you that have these projections of what life will be like, answer me this. What is life like right now? Quickly, leave folks alone who no longer believe in these systems we have been taught to believe in that have not benefited us. Flint, Michigan is still without clean water 10 years later. Unalivings by police have gone up since George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. You can't afford to pay your rent because you don't make a livable wage. There are multiple genocides happening in real time that we are witnessing and seeing. And these folks are telling you every reason why they can't stop it and using your tax money.
All right, so you guys just heard all of that, and I wanted to play you guys some different perspectives from both sides because I wanted to be fair, even though I'm not voting for either candidate. But I just wanted to make a few points in regards to this situation. Now, we all know that there's some convicted felons out here that are walking around that can't find a job, let alone the convicted felons that are still behind bars. But my ideology fall along the lines of, hey, if he can still run for office, right, because of that loophole they put in place for people that look like him, then why not let all the felons be able to vote? Lift that oppression off of them. Let's see where this country really stands. Let's see where it really stands. Now look, I know that all felonies that have been committed aren't created equal, especially when you get to people that have arred individuals, deleted a bunch of individuals, disrespected and violated minors and things like that. And it does come into question whether they should have the right to vote. Listen, I get it. It's a real slippery slope, but at the end of the day, nah, let's take the gloves off. Because listen, you got a governor down there in Florida that don't want African Americans to know about their true history, and nor does he want his own kind to feel bad about the things that his ancestors have done to our ancestors. But there's a clause down there in Florida: if you have a felony and you're running to be a government official, or you're a presidential candidate, you can't run for office. Your name cannot be on the ballot in Florida. But what did that governor down there in Florida pledge to do? He plans to change the law that 45 can be on the ballot, but yet that same governor is banning books. You see what I'm saying? And low key, I'm gonna tell y'all, I really think that DeSantis is gonna be his running mate, because they both share the same ideology of running a dictatorship. And what better candidate or potential vice president to have beside you than a DeSantis that's already running a sort of a dictatorship in the state of Florida? And so that ultimately means that if 45 was to win and have us living under a dictatorship, that means that he's in office until the day he passes. And when he passes, guess who's going to take over? That would be DeSantis. Okay, and we already see what DeSantis is doing down there in Florida. So do you really want to be living under a dictatorship? I believe that's the biggest threat to America. I really do. But that doesn't coerce me or make me feel like I need to jump on President Biden's side either, because I see a whole bunch of bull crap over there. But I encourage you guys to go to TikTok and look at the amount of melanated people that are standing on 45's side. Given the fact that this man is so utterly arrogant that he hasn't even apologized to the Central Park 5. And he's partly responsible why they got convicted, because he put that scathing ad, I believe it was in the New York Post. But anyway, I can go on and on and on about this topic. I may need to create me a Patreon or a safe space to go where I can talk more freely, and I think that's what I'm gonna do. But I was gonna add some more topics. I'm gonna let this go because this video has been too long, and I'll talk about those topics in my next video, and so you guys can look out for that. But anyway, I want you all to drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about all this. Like I said, I don't subscribe to either party, but I'm really interested to see what you guys think. So drop down again in the comments and let me know. All right, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
So for this video, I want to talk about 10 reasons why black people should not support Donald Trump. Number one, Donald Trump opposes affirmative action, a program that benefits African Americans, then opens doors of opportunities for African Americans. Number two, Donald Trump joked about police brutality and tried to reverse policies designed to address the problem of police brutality in police departments around the country. Number three, Donald Trump supported voter suppression of black voters in places like Michigan and Georgia. Number four, Donald Trump panders to white supremacists. You know, he referred to those white supremacists in Charlottesville, Virginia as some very fine people. This man has received support from the KKK and from just like David Duke. And instead of condemning David Duke, you know, this man tap danced around that issue when asked to address it. Number five, Donald Trump referred to African countries as shithole countries, while at the same time talking about how we need more immigrants from places like Norway, predominantly white countries. Number six, Donald Trump supported birtherism, you know, which is really rooted in racism, anti-black racism. You know, he launched his campaign by talking about how President Obama was not an American citizen. He launched his campaign talking about how Mexicans are criminals. And I would say more, but I don't want to deal with TikTok censorship. Number seven, Donald Trump has been sued for housing discrimination. He refused to rent to African Americans, but yet and still you have these lost Negroes on here supporting this man. Number 8, Donald Trump took out a full ad calling for the death penalty to be imposed against young African-American men who were falsely accused in that Central Park case in New York City. And those young men have since been exonerated. But this man had took out a full-page ad calling for the death penalty against those young men. Number 9, Donald Trump helped spark an insurrection in this country. He tried to reverse a democratic election in this country. You know, while these Republicans talk about patriotism and all that kind of stuff, for some reason that doesn't apply to a man who actually inspired people to engage in an insurrection to overturn a democratic election. And that brings me to another point. Number 10, you know, Donald Trump faces multiple cases against him. You know, he has criminal matters pending against him. He has civil cases pending against him. If this man were anybody else, there's no way in hell he would be a serious contender for president of the United States. And this is the last point that I would like to make. For those who are, for those people who are, you know, Republicans, and they're all about, you know, supporting the military and all about patriotism. Donald Trump has made many disrespectful comments about men and women who serve in the armed forces. Peace.